All right, let's talk about the Queen of Pentacles, or the Queen of Crystals in the Star Child Tarot. So the Queen energy, she is all about prosperity. She is all about balance. Her energy feels very calm and centered. The Pentacles card is all about like earth energy, right? So she feels very grounded. She feels very loving. And one of the first things that I see in my mind is someone who creates a very loving and happy and stable home. So if you were to go into her home at Christmas, you would find it is lavishly decorated with all the most beautiful Christmassy things. Maybe there's the smell of a stew or bread in the oven. Maybe there are candles that are lit. It's a very sort of like warm, nurturing, sort of happy atmosphere. So the Queen of Crystals, or the Queen of Pentacles, or the Queen of Discs is all about creating that stable, loving family home life. So she is such a good mom. She's such a good mom, right? So she is the mom who always has your kids' lunches ready, right? She provides a very stable sort of home life for them. She knows when all of their practices are. She has them like on a spreadsheet, or they're like programmed in the calendar of her phone, right? She's the type of mom who she really does things because they're practical, right? Like she'll buy a bench, for if she has several kids, for them like all put their shoes in and have them lined up and have all their jackets up there like in the mudroom, because that's more practical than having the kids come in and having them to have nowhere to put their stuff, right? So she would do things like that. This is the same type of person that she's all about balance, stability, and practicality. So she would think about, how do I make things more stable, more, how can I feel more nurtured in my environment? That's the feeling I'm trying to think of. So, this is the type of person who would have nail clippers and a nail file in the house and in the car, right? And in her purse, right? So she would be very, very prepared. It's that sort of energy. And it also feels to me like she's the type of person that everything in her house has somewhere that it lives, right? When you're done with that thing, you put it back there. That's very practical. Having things, strewn around the house that don't have somewhere that they quote unquote live is just not practical. So everything has a place, right? And then like you put it back in its place when you're done with it. So her whole sort of house and world is probably very organized. It's very sensible, right? This is the type of person that is very focused on what is actually needed, what is actually going to be of value to me, what is not going to be of value to me, and then she kind of makes decisions from that place. For instance, there's something I do that's very Queen of Pentacles. I don't have a lot of shoes, okay, because I don't find it very practical. I'm super practical over here. Okay, so like I have, I think only like 6 pairs of shoes. I have 3 types of dressy shoes. I have like one's to go black outfits, one to go with like brown outfits, and then one is like a gold and like white sort of shoe, right? So I have those 3, okay? I have my snow shoes, right? Like my duck boot type things, for when it's snowing or ice or outside. And then I have sneakers for the gym, and then I have everyday sandals for summer. Okay, that's it. I only own 6 pairs of shoes. And it's because it's like very practical. Like I don't want 20 pairs of shoes because I have to have like somewhere to put them, and like I just have no time for that. So therefore I only have just shoes that I need, and with those 6 pairs of shoes I can pair it with everything in my freaking closet. You know what I mean? So it's that sort of thing. Or like buying analogous colors, which is something I tend to do. So everything goes with everything else in my closet. And so it's just, she makes decisions based on what's practical and where her values are. Now, I'm not saying that everybody that is a Queen of Pentacles is going to have 6 pairs of shoes. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that she will make choices based on where her values lie and what's important to her, right? Like earlier this year, was it this year? No, I guess it was last year. I manifested a free car being given to me, and I was so elated about it. And I did because like I didn't feel like it was practical to buy another one. I didn't want to buy another one, right? I wanted it to just appear, right? So I lined my energy up for it, and it did. And I just didn't think it was practical to spend a bunch of money on a new car. That's just not something I value. Am I saying that's the right choice for everyone? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But that is a very much a Queen of Pentacles sort of choice, right? I personally choose to put my money in my savings account. I want to go to Scotland, etc. Like I know what's valuable to me, and I know what's important, and then I put my money in those things that are important to me. So this sort of person is going to, always make choices based on what is going to not only provide practical stability, but on where her values lie, on like what's important to her. She's not going to spend money on superfluous things. Like, that's not going to happen. She's way more likely to be that person that puts $50 in her savings account every single week for like the long term, because that's what matters and that's what's important. So she's very, very stable, grounded, and practical. All right. This is also the type of person that could easily have the same job for 20 or 30 years. Okay. Doesn't bother them in the least. They're going to show up every day. They're going to do the thing, and like they're happy, right? Like that works for them and that makes them feel good. And so you can have Queen of Pentacles energy in one area of your life, but like not other areas. So right, and I know this because I have definite Queen of Pentacles tendencies in some ways, but then in other areas, totally different. I'm a super wands type of person. I have to have all sorts of variety and freedom and creativity, right? And then in other places, I'm like, oh, really practical. And it's really weird having these two dichotomies. Okay, so obviously this can represent an aspect of your personality. It can represent someone else in your life, or it can represent you in the reading. Okay, if it's representing a stage of life, it's going to represent, I would say between your like 30s to like 45-ish. It feels like that sort of stage to me. That's where there's a lot of mundane, practical, day-to-day things that need to be done. This is the time where like you raise kids. That's the general time frame where, if you're putting in a lot of time, effort, and hours into some sort of business venture or career, the majority of your focus is on that. So this is very much, it feels like very prime time of like life, sort of. Yeah, that feels good to me. The other thing that I feel about this energy is she's not willing to do something and to sacrifice another area of her life. So she insists on all areas of her life working and all areas being imbalanced and everything feeling very like copacetic and everything good. She doesn't like turmoil and problems. She likes things to be smooth sailing, easy, joyful as she goes throughout her life, and like all areas of her life working. So if one is kind of out of balance and the others are like good, she does get a little bit annoyed because she wants everything to work and she wants everything to be in balance and everything to be stable. And for the most part, she's very good at doing that. She's very good at creating that, like projecting that sort of energy, and then, doing the practical things that one needs to do in order to like make those things manifest. All right, Queen of Pentacles reversed is someone who's very flaky. They're totally out to lunch, okay? Their life is a mess. You walk in their house, there's like things everywhere, okay? They haven't been put away in like a really long time. They probably haven't cleaned in a long time either. Right, they might be chaotic emotionally, and their finances could be totally like all over the place. Like they have no idea what they're spending. Like they don't actually know where their values are and what their choices are, so therefore it's kind of reflected on the fact that they don't make decisions, or they like, it's that feeling that I get of like people who like really avoid something. They're like, oh, I don't want to talk about that, so it's like I'm going to do everything I can to avoid that, right? I don't want to deal with it, so how I'm going to deal with it is I'm just going to ignore it, when really that's not a very like practical way to deal with it, because it's very impractical actually. So upright, this person would be practical. I feel like I need a new word besides sensible. This person would be sensible, and they would be like, okay, well, you know what, let's address that problem, okay? Reverse, this person is like, oh, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. I don't know what you're talking about. Ha ha ha, right? They're just like not gonna go there. They don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to do anything about it. It's almost like they want to like be a child, okay? So upright, this person is very responsible for others, etc. This person can hardly take care of themselves, let alone everybody else, okay? It's the type of person where like even if they do sort of like build up some sort of like savings account or wealth or whatever, there's some crisis and they always end up cashing it out and then cashing it out and then cashing it out. So they never end up building that long-term wealth or that long-term stability, because they keep have a crisis where they have to take everything out in order to use it for the moment, because they haven't created a stable situation. This could also mean somebody who has to keep constantly moving or constantly going from job to job to job, because they can't seem to create a stableness in their life. There's some sort of like, some underlying pattern that is making them be very just not grounded, basically. All right, the other thing about the Queen of Pentacles reversed is this could be someone with very poor boundaries. When the card is upright, you know your value, you know your worth, and you know your value. the value of those around you, and you are very like courteous and conscientious. I cannot ever say that word. Conscientious. I still didn't say it right. Whatever. Reversed, you like don't take other people's like boundaries into consideration, or you let people like walk all over you in some way. So some sort of no boundary behavior is going on here. And this might cause you to feel downtrodden, or like, oh, things never go my way, or it's just not right. And really what it is that you're not commanding that other people treat you well. You're not commanding the stability that you desire. You're not commanding and choosing and acknowledging that you have the complete ability to create your life exactly as you see fit and exactly as you want. Right? So instead you're a little bit more in a victim energy of, oh, woe is me, instead of, you know what? All right, let's get to it. Let's fix this. Because when the card is upright, you're just like, you're not swayed. You're like, okay, all right, this is the situation. That's fine. Let's solve it. This person is not really into that. Okay. All right, let's get into the King of Pentacles.